Is everybody doing today? How's everybody doing on this Saturday? I want to say Saturday morning because that's what it is in Canada, but I know in the UK it is Saturday evening. So send me any yoga for BJJ related questions. Any questions you have regarding yoga, regarding stretching, maybe if you're feeling stiff somewhere, and maybe even something to help your game out a little bit. And I always get questions. We answer when we can about any type of pain. Like sometimes if the outside of the leg is bothering you, might be something in the back that's tight. Really excited. We are releasing a new program. So this week has been released the 10 for 30, and that's for you guys. That was a really big demand from you guys wanting to have more of a flow in a short amount of time. And every single day is just a really, really nice, gentle flow. And it's not as much instructional as it is getting moving. So I do recommend you doing startup week first, just so you have your foundations that Sebastian made. And then you can move into what's called the 10 for 30. And creating this program was really a really interesting experience. It was a lot of fun, but it was also a lot of work because I created a pilot. Okay, here's this program, sent it out there. And then our teacher trainings, when they're teacher trainings, the lucky ones, they get to try it out. They get to be the guinea pigs, and then they send it back. And they're like, no, this is too much. The sequencing is too much. It's too much in a minute. Like, I just want to get on my mat and I want to move. I want to feel good. I don't want to learn 67 things. I'm like, okay. So they sent it back. We did another one, sent it out again, came back with more feedback. And finally, the third one is the final. Third one's always the lucky one, isn't it? This one was really cool. And it's 30 days. And the design is pretty much 5 days. So the first day we move through spine, always on the first set. There's 6 sets. So 5, 10, 15, 20, 25, 30. There's 6 sets. And you don't have to do them all in one day. If you can, that'd be very impressive. That's about 6 hours of yoga. 5 to 6 hours, depending on how much water you drink in between. Day number 1 is spine. The goal is to strengthen the spine, and we are constantly rounding forward. And that's just our life. That's just our life, working in front of the computer, watching TV, and even on the phone, even cooking. It's always rounded forward. So this actually loosens up the front of the body, because if it's tight, you can't target the back of the body, right? So this loosens up the front of the body, so we can start to work into the back, and also strengthening the back too, because a lot of the time I'm like, man, we always think about our core. What about our back strength? So it works on the back. That's day number 1. And day number 2, we move into the shoulders. Because again, those shoulders, same concept as the back, right? Rounded forward all the time. And I wouldn't say that's always, like, it is our fault and it isn't, but it's just our life. It's just our life right now in 2020. So my hair looks great, hey? I'm jealous because guys never have to worry about that. Their hair always looks great. They just jump online. But that's 2020 where the shoulders are rounded forward. And even in jiu-jitsu too. In jiu-jitsu, you're pulling on the gi. You're pulling people's necks. It's not often where you're pulling the shoulders back for good posture. You know, that'll happen in a standing guard break, but majority of the time they're rounded forward, those shoulders. So day number 2 is to pull the shoulders back, open it, and also not just flexibility of the shoulders and chest, but also increasing the mobility. So the range of motion too, because the shoulders are meant to move. The shoulders are meant to move, like as it goes like around in the socket, they're meant to move. So that's shoulders, that's day number 2. And the next one is hips, because I don't even know if I need to talk about that. Our hips are always tight. And the crazy thing is, if the hips are tight, what's the next joint down from the hips? That's the knees. And if the hips are tight, you can create knee injuries. So really important to stretch those hips out. And through the inside, the outside. After that, we move through, there's of course hamstrings, because those hamstrings are always notoriously tight as well, just because of our life. And I'm such a analysis, but jiu-jitsu, right? Jiu-jitsu, you're closing your guard, your legs are bent. Mount, the legs are bent. Side control, the legs are bent. They're just always, they're pretty much always bent. And so those poor little hamstrings get to be pretty tight. So, so we want to balance that, stretch that out, get them moving. And if the hamstrings are stretched out, it makes everything feel so much better, because if they're tight, it can actually pull on the back. And so that might be a reason why the back hurts. And of course, rotation, moving the spine left and moving it right. Now this I found really interesting, the comparison of the rotation of our jiu-jitsu games to our yoga. Jiu-jitsu game, we usually favor one side more than another with different techniques. Not all the time, but sometimes we do. And so for me, I'll prefer to do my guard work. Most of it's on the right side. My right, which is their left, their weak side. But then I work my right side more, and my right side kind of gets more jammed up. So the beauty of yoga in general, yoga for BJJ in general, but even our spine day in this series is it lengthens the spine, pulls it up, and gets it moving left and right. And I think we don't always realize jammed up we are until we get it moving. So that's the setup of all 5 days. We'll move through, and then we go through that again. Day 1 is spine, shoulders, hips, and rotation, moving left and right, and then those hamstrings, and then we move through it again. So whether you're a member or not, you can jump onto our website, yogaforbjj.net, and the explanation, the intro of the program is free, and the first video is free too. So you can hang out with me there. And I'm not gonna lie, it is kind of weird hanging out in a studio all by yourself for like hours and hours and hours. And I'm kind of watching and filming, and I'm kind of watching myself, and I'm like, I just start talking to myself. I'm like, okay, yeah, so this one was good. Yeah, we'll have to refilm that one. And I'm like, that's pretty hilarious. So send over any questions. We got a couple more minutes. I'm here for you guys. Send me any questions you have. I released my first program, so I'm officially a professional. I think everybody pretends to be a professional, and somehow it works. We also have free for our community our Christmas countdown. So join our Yoga for BJJ community group, and Adam and I take turns posting a free video every single day all the way until Christmas. And our goal is just to help you out, get you ready for Christmas dinner. Get you flexible so you can fit more food in you, so you can move a little better when you're full. Nah, I don't know, I'm just kidding. But seriously. And actually today's video, it'll be posted at 9 a.m., so in 20 minutes. Today's video is really cool. It's from Yoga of the Over 40 program, and you just need your belt and to get moving, and I love it. I don't know why they call it, it's over 40. It's like, oh, you need to be over 40. I'm like, no, bro. Everybody needs to do this program, especially if you've been training a lot. It's really nice getting everything moving. So the Over 40 program, the first video, that will be posted in the Yoga for BJJ community group. And I love it. It's so great. So Adam and I, every day, free videos for you guys all the way up until Christmas. And a lot of them are like the first video in a series, so you can feel what the series is like. And it's just amazing. Like after going from no yoga, and I really started training yoga as a brown belt, it's late purple brown, and to see how much it helped me and to see how much it helped my game, I was like, I wouldn't do without it. Speaking of that, today's class is a really great slow class, and it's called Yin Yoga, but today is it is a Yin Yoga, but it is a little bit, it's slow, but it's just a tiny bit quicker today. And you can swipe up on the story and the class will be there. Or if you're watching this later, the class will be under, it's going to be called like front body, but the special focus is the quads, because the quads are such a major muscle group and they take a lot to release. So we'll be going slow, target the quads once, and then we'll target it twice, and then we'll also move through opening the shoulders and just the whole body. So it starts really, really nice, and the quads, I kind of like, it doesn't really matter how you hit them, like they're intense. And I really wanted to find some stretches that were nice, because sometimes people do just crazy stuff, or they're sitting down on their knees like this, and then they just pop their torsos back. And I'm like, who can do that? That's so flexible. Like maybe if you're 7 and don't have any muscles, you can do that. So today will be a really, really great flow. Just slow. So it's not really a flow. It's like yin, but we do some more movement today than we did last week. So it'll be a really great class. And I'm excited about it. Again, those quads are a major muscle group. But the reason why I'm focusing on quads so much is I know a lot of people are in quarantine, and if you're not in quarantine, we look at the training that people do and the cross training. You might be running, you might be doing weights, you might be doing kettlebells, and if you're doing all of that, we're squatting. Even in jiu-jitsu, like the legs are bent, we're squatting. So I got a recent pain in my knee. Any movement that can help. Where it is, you can give me more information. Hobbies, SEP, that's a great name. Where's the pain in your knee? Actually, my first question would be, how did it happen? My guess is perhaps a jiu-jitsu wrestle. Let me guess. I always like guessing. De La Riva. You're doing De La Riva guard. Maybe it got twerked. I don't know. Or it could have just been a scramble, a crazy scramble. And any movement can help. So depending where the pain is, like today might feel good, or you can also jump into our rehab section of the website, and you will see rehab pain for the outside of the knee, the inside of the knee, and the middle of the knee. And obviously we are not doctors. I took 10 years to get my jiu-jitsu black belt. I did not get my doctor degree, although my cousin is a doctor, but I think she's probably here and you were there. So you jump on the rehab program. So hobby SEP, yes. Was it De La Riva? Was I right? That's a really common one. You know what's crazy is right to the point. If the hips are tight, the next hinge down are the knees. So your hips might be tight and maybe even the outside of the hip. So I want you to try this with your good knee for me. I want you to try this just to see. So I'm curious to see if the outside is tight. So let's say it is your left one. I want you to drop everything to the right. If it's your left side, and just put the right arm on top of the leg, lift this hand up and go back. And if you feel this, obviously with a twist, but if you feel this on the outside of the leg, it probably means it's tight. Or another way to do it that's a bit more intense, a little bit more intense, is you can sit cross-legged, and even, if one's tight, both of them are probably tight. Just cross the knees over each other. And if you really feel this on the outside of the legs, then it's probably tight on the outside, and that's okay. Like a lot of my Saturday classes hit up that, the outside of the quads, but also give it some time, because it probably sounds like it's probably 2 days ago or so, or this week. Give it some time. Don't put it under stress. Work your closed guard for a while. And you can jump on the rehab section. It might be inflamed. So give it some time, jump on the rehab section of the website. And it's probably, my guess is maybe the outside of the knee. You can do some rehab there. And you need to stretch the outside of the hips. So a lot of my Saturday classes, when you look at it, if you look at the titles, a lot of them stretch the outside of the hips. Like one that I did, which was really nice, which is a twist. I always like to be really efficient in my stretching and do a couple things at the same time. So a twist, you bring the belt up. This is a more intense one, and bring it across your body like this. And this is a really intense stretch to the outside. So you can even do this watching TV. I recommend not doing it while drinking your coffee, but you can try. And this one will be really good. So let us know how that goes. Let us know how that helps out. Okay, everybody, it has been super fun hanging out with you. I need to get ready for my live class, and make sure to jump on with me. A really, really great one for those quads. Obviously, the whole front of the body and the shoulders too, but a big focus will be those quads. So thanks for hanging out, and we will see you next time.